Justin Bieber recently parted ways with his personal assistant, but some sources say that Justin had actually fired the man 5 years ago. The reason right now for the split is because the assistant was looking to focus on his acting career. He had been working for the famous couple since 2018. The downsizing seems to be a trend for Bieber lately. His team keeps getting smaller, and he recently unfollowed a bunch of past coworkers and friends, so this is actually not that out of the ordinary right now. Sources claiming to be close to the situation, of course, claim that the assistant actually left Bieber because they were worried about his erratic behavior as of late. But up next with Lady Gaga and the mess from 2013. A former assistant and friend filed a lawsuit back in 2011, but the ball wasn't rolling until a couple years later. The assistant, Jennifer O'Neill, was suing Gaga for unpaid overtime, an alleged 7,168 hours of it, which is almost $400,000. Gaga did end up sharing her side of the story in her deposition. The singer said that she doesn't pay overtime and never has, and this being the second time the assistant worked for her, she should have been familiar with that policy. Gaga also appeared to say O'Neill had it good because she was jetting around the world with her, sleeping in expensive hotels, and also literally sleeping in those beds. Plus, there was the food and the parties that she got to experience. Gaga even alleged that O'Neill asked famous designers to send her free things and used Gaga's discounts at their stores without permission. Now, the thing is, Gaga definitely said some rude things during this deposition, so it's clear that both sides had some stuff to work on. Gaga also said that O'Neill just wasn't a very good assistant, citing things like not helping the star get set up when traveling, which might seem a bit ridiculous, asking someone else to go get your toothbrush for you, but remember that Lady Gaga can't just walk down a street to the nearest corner store without risk of being mobbed by fans. Rumor is the assistant is writing a book about her experiences, but it's been over a decade now and crickets, so who knows if that's really happening in the end or if any of this even happened at all. Now, no one else on this list is going to have quite as much trouble as Taryn Manning's ex-assistant did. So much trouble that the pair ended up in court. When you hear celebrity assistant horror stories, it's usually things that are just kind of like weird situations like the Lady Gaga stuff, but it's rare that you hear about legit violence. Taryn Manning's assistant happened to be an unlucky one. The actress was charged back in 2012 with a misdemeanor after the assistant accused of coming into violent physical contact with her, restricting her airflow and scratching. Taryn's representation apparently kept downplaying the whole thing and even referred to the assistant as a member of the family, saying that this was all just personal issues. Still, the judge ordered the actress to stay away from her ex-assistant, and the assistant later ended up forgiving the star in the end. Now, I think we all remember the iconic film The Devil Wears Prada. Turns out that fiction was based on fact. The author was an assistant to Anna Wintour before writing the book, so it's safe to assume that she pulled from her personal experiences, which is probably why it's so good. Although, like most things, it's made larger than life for entertainment purposes. Although, I wouldn't be surprised if Wintour did have assistants on hand just to help her remember people's names. She is one of the most famous people in the fashion world after all. Moving on to Kim K's ex-assistant, who shared some interesting facts about how the woman looks so good all the time. At least, the word on the street is, it was an ex-assistant that said all this. The earliest mention I can find citing this simply says a source, but other articles are adamant that it was an ex-assistant. The secret in question is apparently when Kim K gets fat removed from her body, she allegedly freezes it to use in other spots on her body. Popular ways to use it would be like fillers or in rear enhancements. The source claimed that the latter was what Kim K used it for. The star is adamant that she does not have implants, so this would be an alternative should her body type not be natural. Of course, all this info came out roughly a decade ago and hasn't moved past speculation, so it's up to you what you want to think. Supermodel Naomi Campbell has made a name for herself as a supermodel fashion diva, but also seemingly a danger to those that she employs. Many employees have come forward with various stories of the supermodel acting rudely towards them. One personal assistant even called out the model for getting physically violent with her in 2000. Vanessa Frisbee claimed that she was attacked during an argument with the star. Of course, Campbell said this never happened and sued Frisbee, specifically for breach of contract. In the end, the case was thrown out. But then, another PA came forward in 2004. This time, the claim was they were held hostage in an LA hotel where a phone was thrown at them. Again, this was denied, and again, the case was dropped. But then here we are back at it in 2005, when another assistant accused the model of hurting her with a, and this is a direct quote, jewel-encrusted BlackBerry. Denied again. There were technically more people that accused the model of mean things, but those are all the assistants. Lindsay Lohan is doing quite well now, but it's hard to forget that she basically pinned her 2012 car crash on her assistant Gavin Doyle. Back in the early 2010s, Lohan's Porsche rear-ended a truck. The star allegedly told police that she was in the passenger seat, and Gavin Doyle, her assistant, was the driver. Except when police spoke to Gavin, his story was flipped. Eventually, through other evidence, police concluded that Gavin was telling the truth. Gavin ended up bailing Lohan out after it all, but she apparently was still angry with him considering she kicked him out of the car. The pair seemed to patch things up later on, but it was quite a moment while it was happening. One thing about the early 2000s, they were messy, and Jessica Simpson's past assistant was no stranger to being messy. The woman decided to speak to the star and spread some rumors about Simpson, like that she doesn't pay at restaurants because she believes her star power is good enough, which is completely wild to think about, so thank goodness there isn't much evidence out there to prove it. Of course, not trying to say that this never happened, I don't know, I wasn't there. However, there is one pretty famous restaurant story that makes me less inclined to believe this little piece of gossip. Last year, Simpson left a $300 tip on a $500 check with a sweet note. So, who knows what kind of person Simpson was in a restaurant 20 years ago, but today she seems like the right kind of guest. Madonna herself revealed that she has an assistant for a very specific and very strange role, the food police. When you're off traveling the world and performing for adoring crowds, you're thinking so much about others that you sometimes forget yourself. And for Madonna, that means she sometimes just forgets to eat. And hey, happens to the best of us. Plus, she's a perfectionist, so she wants to make sure everything on the tour is perfect, especially her eating patterns. And if you can afford to pay someone to check in on you, why not? They are also making sure she drinks water too, of course. Rumor is that Sarah Jessica Parker wants her assistants as smart as possible, which, you know, that makes sense, but apparently an Ivy League education is practically a job offer. Parker is known for having really good relationships with her assistants. She was even a bridesmaid to a past assistant of hers. Although, what makes her celebrity secret my personal favorite of the list is it's a little bit out there. Somewhere along the way, a past staff member claimed that SJP practices witchcraft. Yeah, I fear something got a little bit lost in translation here. See, there's nothing online to suggest that Sarah Jessica Parker is a full witch, other than her role in Hocus Pocus, of course. My guess is things got a little murky when Sarah Jessica Parker learned of a past ancestor. She is actually related to a woman imprisoned during the Salem witch trials. So her Hocus Pocus character actually hits closer to home than she thought. And even if she is following her however many great grandmother's footsteps and practicing a little witchcraft, good for her.
Khloe Kardashian has been through so much when it comes to her baby daddy, Tristan Thompson. The couple sparked romance rumors in August 2016, and in December 2017, the couple confirmed their pregnancy. But with just days before Khloe gave birth, Tristan was seen speaking closely to a girl at a bar in Manhattan. Another video saw that same girl entering a hotel with him at 5 a.m., prompting allegations that he was cheating on her. TMZ then posted a video from earlier in October which appeared to show Tristan kissing two other women at a hookah lounge. In the end though, the couple stayed together, and all of this played out in episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But this wasn't the last time Tristan was going to cheat. In February 2019, it was reported that Tristan cheated on Khloe with her sister Kylie Jenner's best friend and longtime Kardashian family friend Jordyn Woods. So Khloe and Tristan split in 2019 due to this, but in the summer of 2020, they resumed their relationship after quarantining together during the pandemic. But then in December 2021, news broke that Tristan had another baby on the way with Texas personal trainer Maralee Nichols. Maralee was suing the NBA player for child support and other pregnancy-related fees. Now, according to The Insider, Khloe and Tristan were together in March when Maralee claimed she was involved with him. Tristan said paternity results revealed that he is the father of Maralee's son, and he confirmed the news on Instagram on January 3rd, 2022. 2022. He said, "Today, paternity test results revealed that I fathered a child with Marley Nichols. I take full responsibility for my actions, and now that paternity has been established, I look forward to amicably raising our son. I sincerely apologize to everyone I've hurt or disappointed throughout this ordeal, both publicly and privately." Now, Tristan had previously disputed the paternity of the child though, so it was a shock. Then that year in 2022, Khloe confirmed that she was pregnant via surrogacy with Tristan and was already pregnant before the news of his secret child broke. Now, they gave birth to their second child and they have been co-parenting ever since, but Tristan betrayed her time and time again, and she deserves so much better. Hugh Grant had been together with his long-term partner, model Elizabeth Hurley, for 13 years. But back in 1995, Hugh decided to pick up a night worker named Divine Brown, and the two were arrested while they did the deed in his car. Now, both were taken into custody, and Hugh was sentenced to pay a $1,000 fine in order to take an AIDS education course. Their mugshots were on the cover of every paper, and his embarrassing secret was revealed to the world. Now, after this happened, the press went after Divine, paying her $100,000 for her story, but Hugh, on the other hand, put out a public statement saying, "Last night I did something completely insane. I've hurt people I love and embarrassed people I work with. For both things, I am more sorry than I could ever possibly say." Now, oddly enough, Elizabeth was supportive about it and stuck around for a while until the year 2000, but they are good friends to this day. But who knows how many times he did this without getting caught. Bill Clinton was the 42nd president of the United States from 1993 to 2001, but in the 90s, Clinton was accused of being in a relationship with Monica Lewinsky, who was an intern at the White House, who was hired during Clinton's first term in 1995. Now, Clinton had been married to his wife Hillary since 1975, but he denied that he was having an affair. During a televised statement, the president denied having a sexual relationship with her, stating, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky." Afterwards though, Monica then confided in Linda Tripp, her co-worker, about the relationship and how it was true. It was then brought to light that Bill's and Monica's sexual relationship lasted between 1995 and 1997. Now, Bill then finally admitted that he had a relationship with her, stating, "I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part, for which I am solely and completely responsible. I know that my public comments and my silence about the matter gave a false impression. I misled people, including even my wife. I deeply regret that." Now, this ultimately ruined his and Monica's reputation. Steven Spielberg is a filmmaker who married actress and singer Amy Irving, but their relationship didn't end in a good way. Now, Steven met Amy in 1976 when she auditioned for one of his films. They got together and broke up in 1979, and it cost her the role of Marion Ravenwood in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which had been offered to her at the time. But they reunited and were married from 1985 to 1989. Now, in 1984, they renewed their romance and married in November 1985, and somewhere in between, the couple reportedly drew up and signed a prenuptial agreement that outlined their income and property and limited how much Amy would walk away with should they divorce. While this itself isn't too surprising, the agreement was drawn up without any lawyers present and was supposedly written on the back of a cocktail napkin. Yep, on a napkin. Now, the couple's relationship fell apart after the filmmaker began having an affair with Kate Capshaw after meeting the actress on the set of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So in 1989, the couple divorced and they agreed to live near each other to share custody of their son. But Amy took Steven to court with the claim that the back of napkin agreement was invalid because she did not have an attorney when they made the prenup. Now, the court found in the actor's favor, ruling that under California law, Amy was entitled to half of his earnings from the 4 years of their marriage, which was an impressive $100 million. So Amy ended up going back on her word to Steven, which is kinda messed up if you really think about it. Then there's poor Anne Hathaway. She started dating Raffaello Folori in 2004, and they remained together until he was arrested for fraud in 2008. The Italian property developer was jailed for 4 years after pleading guilty to 14 counts of fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. Now, he was racking up huge debts and using investors' his money to furnish his lavish lifestyle, which included an elite dog walking service for his brown lab, a $37,000 a month apartment in Olympic Tower, a rented yacht for him and Anne in the Mediterranean, $30,000 to fly his doctor to London for a minor ailment, and $107,000 on a chartered jet to take him and Anne to a New Year's Eve party in the Dominican Republic. Now, Anne had no idea of any of this, and afterwards, Raffaello said in an interview, "That night before I was arrested, Annie phoned me from Los Angeles where she was doing press for the movie Get Smart. We were on the phone for 10 minutes talking about when she might come home. If I remember, Annie's last words were, 'I love you forever,' and we ended the call. That was at 2 a.m. on June 24th, 2008, and at 6 a.m. I was arrested. I never spoke to Annie again. After that, she never spoke to me again. I think she made a business decision," he said about her choice not to contact him. Now, Anne was open with the police about everything, and thankfully she wasn't charged with anything. And finally, in 2012, photos of Kristen Stewart kissing Rupert Sanders, the director of her movie Snow White and the Huntsman, were released, and it caused a frenzy. At the time, she was famously in a relationship with her Twilight co-star Robert Pattinson, while Rupert was married to his wife since 2002, model Liberty Ross. Now, after the photos were released, both Kristen and Rupert released their own statements. Kristen said, "I'm deeply sorry for the hurt and embarrassment I've caused to those close to me and everyone this has affected. This momentary indiscretion has jeopardized the most important thing in my life, the person I love and respect the most, Rob. I love him, I'm so sorry." Now, she and Robert then broke up in May of 2013. Rupert's statement then said, "I am utterly distraught about the pain I've caused my family. My beautiful wife and heavenly children are all I have in this world. I love them with all my heart. I'm praying we can get through this together." But after this, his wife filed for divorce 6 months later.
Chris Evans is first, and I'm taking the title literally with this first one. This actor is best known for playing Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, in 2020, fans got an unexpected treat after the actor shared some very personal photos of himself online. Evans accidentally posted a nude photo of himself on Instagram. The photo was quickly deleted, but of course it was screenshotted and shared widely online. Evans later poked fun at the incident on Twitter, saying, "Now that I got your attention, vote." The incident was trending on Twitter and several jokes and memes were made. Some fans thought he did it on purpose, and some thought it was likely just honestly an honest mistake. One person online had a question to everyone though that said, "Do you guys think that there's a double standard in the regards to how men are treated when they leak nudes versus how women are treated when the same thing happens? Because from my point of view, women, when something like this does happen, are given a more hostile approach. However, in regards to Chris Evans, his fans were really great from what I've seen. They filled Chris Evans searches with photos of Chris and puppies with masks on, anything they could do to divert the attention. There seems to be a general consensus that what happened to him was really crappy. However, when female celebrities, risky photos were to leak, then there would be such a mixed bag of, opinions." That person does make a good point, and most people agreed that there is a double standard in Hollywood. What do you guys think? Kanye West is next. This American rapper and fashion designer is no stranger to public meltdowns, scandals, controversy, and whatnot. We can't seem to escape him, and honestly, I think we're all so tired, are we not? But back in 2020, West accidentally revealed his private conversations with Taylor Swift about her song Famous on Snapchat. Now, the conversation showed West asking Swift for permission to use the lyrics, which contradicted, Swift's previous claims that she had never given permission. Swift called the leak a character assassination. She also said that she was never given the full story or played the song. In clips that were posted to Twitter at the time, the rapper is heard asking Swift to release his new song to her Twitter account after telling Swift he included a very controversial line about her, in the song. West then tells Swift he's been mulling over the lyrics for 8 months and warns her, that it's gonna be a little Eminem a little bit and to brace yourself for a second. After Famous was released in February of 2016, Swift's reps said the singer declined and cautioned him about releasing a song with such a strong misogynistic message. Taylor was never apparently, made aware of the actual lyrics. Kim would then go on to call Taylor a snake and said that she was made aware. Honestly, the whole thing was so messy. I actually do remember watching it on Keeping Up, and I was just as confused then as I am now. Jay-Z, this rapper and entrepreneur known for also being Beyonce's husband, is another celebrity who accidentally exposed his secrets online. In 2011, Jay-Z accidentally accidentally tweeted his private conversation with Kanye West about their album, Watch the Throne. The conversation revealed the two rappers' creative process and their opinions on each other's music. Nothing too crazy there, but he definitely tried to delete those tweets. Britney Spears. This 90s icon has been open about her struggles with mental health. However, in 2007, Spears accidentally revealed her psychiatric evaluation on her website. The evaluation showed that Spears had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and had been experiencing psychotic episodes. While these diagnoses, should be by now normalized, I do agree. Well, at the time, and for someone with Britney's status, it was not ideal to have this exposed to the world. It only made her a little more on edge, and well, we all know how that next decade went for her, so case in point. Justin Bieber. In 2019, Justin Bieber posted an Instagram story calling out the Daily Telegraph for misspelling his name in a headline, writing, "How are you gonna spell my name wrong after all these years? Haha." However, fans quickly noticed his search history was also included in that photo, which showed pages on Selena Gomez's Coachella performance. Bieber, who, of course is married to Hailey Bieber, had notably dated Gomez when they were both really young stars. He then commented saying that video of Selena singing Taki Taki came up after my wife and I watched my Coachella performance. Obviously, she's gonna be in the related category. To fans and people who think I'm maliciously trying to start crap, grow up. So it doesn't seem like he was searching for her deliberately, but you know how social media is. So of course they took this and ran about 5 miles with it. Hailey Bieber, she once accidentally followed a Selena Gomez fan page back in November of 2018. She then very quickly unfollowed it, with the fan account posting a screenshot of Hailey messaging her in her DMs saying, "Hey, followed you by accident, so sorry." Fans thought she was trying to stay up to date on Selena's activity since she used to date Justin Bieber. Now, Hailey and Selena have had a rumored, feud in the past, but both shut down those rumors on social media lately. Now, fans of Gomez actually flooded the comment section, leading the person behind the account to actually turn off the ability to reply and comment. The Instagram user wrote, "I turned off comments because y'all are going off. Can y'all stop hating? Just that. I feel bad for the times I've shaded her, and that's that. Jeez." Travis Barker. While Travis Barker did mention the name Rocky as a contender for his child with Kourtney Kardashian Barker during her pregnancy, the name was not confirmed until after he was born, except the name had actually been confirmed months earlier if you looked at Instagram stories from the baby shower. By zooming in on one photo, viewers were able to spot a note on a wishing tree addressed to Rocky, which read, "My baby Rocky, have a life filled with love." Kylie Jenner. Back when 17-year-old Kylie Jenner was only rumored to be dating Tyga, who is 7 years older than her, she appeared to reveal their relationship by posting a photo on Snapchat with the rapper, which was of course quickly deleted. Now, the controversial relationship, was eventually soft launched by Tyga on Instagram, with Kanye West and Khloe Kardashian appearing to actually confirm the relationship rumors in interviews. Robin Thicke. This wasn't posted by Robin, but still, at a VMA after party, Robin Thicke actually took a photo with a fan. Her name is Lana Scalaro. After the photo was uploaded, people started to notice that you could see Thicke grabbing Scalaro's backside in the mirror behind them, which Scalaro actually then confirmed did happen. Thicke, who never addressed the photo once, was married to Paula Patton at the time. The photo made waves online, contributing to Thicke's status as just a controversial figure. Thicke and Patton would later divorce, with many people saying it was that incident that caused their separation. Katy Perry. Back in 2015, Katy Perry posted a video of her dog on Instagram and Twitter. What she didn't realize was that the dog's tag showed her phone number and was visible in the video. Perry quickly deleted the video and deactivated her number after receiving so many calls from fans, of course. So many people took to Twitter to alert her, and some fans said they didn't even notice. Nevertheless, as a celebrity, having your personal phone number exposed, I would imagine, would be the worst case scenario. Last step is Howie Mandel. Howie accidentally told the world about his OCD diagnosis on Howard Stern's radio show in the late 90s. A guest had apparently touched the door after touching their private area, and Mandel did not want to touch the door with his hand. fans. He said, "They thought it was funny, and I get it. I think it's funny too to try to get me to touch the door, but I started having a panic attack." Because he's a friend, I said, "Please, Howard, you know I've been diagnosed with something called OCD. I'm medicated, and if you don't open the door now, I can tell that you're gonna have to call 911. They opened the door, but then Mandel realized the show was still broadcasting live. He had not yet told the public about his OCD. He walked outside devastated after that happened, and he was thinking, you know, this was the end, and I didn't know what to do. I was contemplating running straight into traffic in Manhattan there, standing on the sidewalk, when somebody came up to me and said, 'Are you Howie Mandel?' And I said, 'Yeah,' and he said, 'I just heard you on Howard Stern. Me too. I suffer from it too. And it was so good to hear you talk.'" Mandel then, started receiving letters from others thanking him for speaking on this condition. He would later become much more open about it. So a happy ending with that one after all. Justin has long struggled with his mental health. Justin has been open about struggling with anxiety, as it's something he developed growing up in the spotlight. Apparently, he's been struggling with it recently again too. A source said Justin has been struggling for the last couple of years, and a significant part of that is down to his worry about being in certain public situations, the source said. Now, he has built up a deep fear of being out in spaces with lots of people and has a deep-seated worry about large crowds. That is one of the reasons why he's not done any touring for a while. Justin focused on trying to heal and get better by staying away from too many outings away from his home, where he would have to mix with strangers, and that in turn has made him borderline reclusive at times. Not to mention, Justin has admitted to being addicted to different medications and alcohol in the past. Justin eventually decided he wanted to get sober when he felt like he was dying. Now, being candid, he said, "My security and stuff would come into my room at night to check my pulse." Now, people don't know how serious it got. It was legit crazy scary. That's what he said. Scooter Braun Bieber's longtime manager called, ages 19 to 21 his dark period. Justin then became clean, but he's worried fans, that he's using again now. He's posted some very concerning content on social media, and fans think that, he might have relapsed again, which is not good. Justin Bieber's relationship with Diddy has been raising concerns ever since Diddy was arrested. Diddy has been arrested for running a crime ring for decades, and many different people have sued him for being mistreated and taken advantage of by him. Justin was close with Diddy at one point, and it has people thinking he might have been a victim of Diddy's. At one point, Justin spent 48 hours alone with Diddy. Now, what happened during those 48 hours, nobody really knows, but the thing is, Justin posted about it on his YouTube page. In this video, Diddy says he's having 48 hours with Diddy, where we are hanging out, and what we're doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a dream. I don't have legal guardianship of him, being Bieber, but for the next 48 hours, he's here with me, and we're gonna go full crazy. Now, this is just weird. It's been said that Justin might have been working with the police to bring down Diddy. Yep, footage has resurfaced of Justin and Diddy reuniting in 2021, and it has people questioning if Diddy thought that Justin was working with the feds. In the video, it shows Diddy getting out of a car and approaching Justin, giving him a hug before patting him down on his chest and torso a few times. The video has been posted in 2021 by Justin himself on his Instagram, but people are now thinking that Diddy was patting Justin down to see if he was actually wearing a wire. Now, the fact that Diddy thought he was wearing a wire says a lot. It seems like Justin and Diddy spent a lot of time together over the years, and while it appeared innocent, dark things could have happened behind closed doors that we just had no idea about. Justin Bieber grew up in the spotlight young, and it affected him negatively a lot. In 2020, while speaking with Apple Music's Zane Lowe, he said, it was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone telling me they love me, and turn their back on you in a second. He then added that he wanted to protect Billie Eilish, who rose to fame young and quick like Justin did himself. He said, "I just want to protect her. I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody." He added that he hopes he could be, a good example for her. He basically said, "If she ever needs me, I'm gonna be there for her. I'm just a call away." Now, him saying this almost just proves that he went through so much that he regrets. Speaking about his personal struggles that were made public as he was growing up, he said that at some points, it was bad, it was dark. Think about how young I was and how impressionable, and you have everybody telling you how awesome you are at all times. That's what he was explaining. He said, "I just want people to understand the psychology of why I potentially could have problems in my life." Justin also confessed that he has been, kind of reliving in the shame and, all of this sort of stuff that's been brought up in his past. Now, Justin was in a highly publicized relationship relationship with Selena Gomez for many years, but he actually cheated on her multiple times. There's even rumors that he cheated on her with Hailey. Fans were pretty shocked when Selena's BFF Taylor Swift seemingly confirmed that the singer had cheated on Selena at one point when she liked a super shady post about it on Tumblr. Now, during her public feud with Justin and his manager Scooter Braun at the time, Taylor liked a post that read, "We haven't got to communicate our differences. You cheated on her best friend and then publicly sided with the man who made revenge blank against her. Was she supposed to invite you over for tea? F out of here." Selena has also alluded to him cheating on her in her music as well. According to insiders, Justin's management team worked tirelessly to keep these rumors from surfacing, spending millions of dollars on legal fees and non-disclosure agreements to keep the women involved quiet. In some cases, it was said that women were actually paid off to deny the allegations and sign contracts that prevented them from speaking publicly. It seems like Justin doesn't like his wife too much. When Hailey and Justin are out in public, it really seems like he does not care about her. This has been shown in many videos from the paparazzi, as he once hilariously shut down a car door basically on Hailey, who was getting out behind him, and the other time he ran away from paparazzi skateboarding away without Hailey. Now, to make things worse, she ran to catch up to him and she fell. And Justin didn't even help her get up. In 2022, during an interview with Apple Music's Ebro Darden, shared exclusively with People at the time, Justin opened up about his mental health journey and some of the harder truths his marriage, has helped him to face. He said, "It's a journey. I remember when I first got married, I hit a little bit of an emotional breakdown because I thought marriage was going to fix all of my problems, and it didn't." Justin said, it's just kind of was a reflection of like, man, you're a bit of a hypocrite, man. You want your wife to do something that you're not doing, and it's like, it's hard sometimes to look in the mirror and really have to realize, man, maybe you're not the person that you necessarily thought you were. He continued to say, and that's just a result of trauma and life circumstances. Justin, he's known to have a temper, both with fans, paparazzi, and strangers. Justin has actually hit at least 2 different photographers. Back in 2016, when Justin Bieber went on tour in Barcelona, Spain, a fan ran up to his car and actually stuck his hand in the window. The singer then instantly punched the fan in the face, making his lip bleed. Now, back then, the video of the incident was caught on camera. One time, Justin was involved also in a verbal altercation with paparazzi outside his Park Lane hotel. In the footage, the 19-year-old is seen pushing a member of the press out of the way as he climbs into a waiting car. Now, the pops, yell at him, and this causes Justin to exit the car and confront the cameraman. His bodyguards held Justin back and got back in the vehicle and drove away. There are actually a lot of videos of Justin yelling at the paparazzi. In 2015, Justin was ordered by a court to complete 12 anger management classes after he pled no contest to vandalism charges in 2014. Justin was charged with the misdemeanor, after he basically egged his former Calabasas, California neighbor's home and caused more than $800,000 in damages. That's a lot. Justin has also long battled Ramsay Hunt syndrome and first revealed his diagnosis to the public in 2022. The condition is a form of face paralysis caused by, reactivation of the shingles, which is like, chicken pox or like herpes, virus in the facial nerves. It presents kind of near either ear. Now, the virus can potentially be reactivated due to aging, other illnesses, or severe stress. Now, we all know that Justin has gone through a lot of stress due to fame, so that actually could be what caused his illness. And finally, we have the fact that Justin is just as obsessed with Selena as Hailey is. Hailey is known to outright just copy Selena, but Justin is a secret lurker himself. At Coachella 2019, DJ Snake was a performer. He had surprise guests, which included Selena. Now, days after the performance, Hailey and Justin posted a video of them looking at an article where they misspelt Justin's last name. He was complaining about that, but you could see his search history to the side. And what were they caught Googling? Selena's Coachella performance outfit. Not the performance, but like the actual outfit. Why would they look this up? Who knows? Honestly, it's weird. Then there's also the fact that Justin has a tattoo of Selena and refuses to get it covered up. Mariah Carey's former nanny, Simonette DaCosta, exposed all of her dirty laundry. She claimed that Mariah was extremely demanding and would often call her in the middle of the night to attend to her twins, Morocco and Monroe, with whom she shares with ex-husband Nick Cannon. In January of 2015, the singer's former nanny actually filed a lawsuit in New York District Court against the couple, claiming that the former couple neglected to compensate the nanny for overtime. Now, DaCosta sued for unpaid overtime wages, premium wages, liquidated damages, and attorney fees. Now, a representative for Mariah Carey actually told ABC News at the time that they don't comment on frivolous lawsuits. The lawsuit alleged that DaCosta cared for the twins from October 2013 till late January 2014. She was paid between about $3,000 and $3,600 twice a month. The suit claims she even traveled with Carey on international trips to take care of the children. During that time, DaCosta states that she worked more than 100 hours per week on a regular basis. She also claimed that she received no sleep or meal breaks and was on call basically like 24 hours a day. The suit also stated that Miss Carey terminated DaCosta after berating her for exhibiting too much affection towards her children. Mariah Carey would allegedly call with demands at all hours in the middle of the night and demand to be taken to her children or to be updated as to the status of her children. She also said Miss Carey would not tolerate any delay and would get really upset if even anything was delayed by like a single minute. Apparently, the ex-nanny settled the lawsuit against her former boss in June of 2015 for an undisclosed amount. The lawsuit also says that she's not the only worker that Carey and Cannon stiffed. The complaint reads, there are numerous similarly situated current and former employees of Miss Carey and Mr. Cannon who were subjected to the aforementioned policy. Carey has actually admitted to having a hard time keeping nannies, and in 2014, she actually spoke about her struggle with Power 105.1's The Breakfast Club. In the interview, she said, I'm very hands-on. I fire nannies like this, snapping her fingers, and I hate doing it, but I have to because if they try to make themselves more important in the baby's mind than me, it's a problem. Nick also confirmed that the singer fired their children's, minders every other week, basically. He explained it saying, it's something about a woman and her children, the minute the child chooses to go to the nanny before they go to the mom, I would have an issue with that myself. Everything's on a trial basis. It's just like, hey, we're gonna see how this works out, and we're always traveling, so the nanny might not get a plane ticket to the next city. That's really harsh, but you know what? I guess that's show business for you. John and Kate Gosselin are next. Remember TLC show John and Kate Plus 8? Well, if you don't, in a nutshell, John and Kate had 8 kids, which was interesting enough for them to land their own show on the network TLC. With 8 kids, one would definitely assume they had a nanny or two. One of their nannies in particular, Stephanie Santoro, came forward to say that she and John allegedly had an affair, calling, the father of 8 very romantic. This wasn't actually the first time it was alleged that John had an affair while with Kate, but this was the first time a nanny came out to claim it. Though John has denied being romantically involved with her, Santoro told In Touch Weekly that, their fling began when John asked her to come over one night during her 1-month employment as, the Gosselin nanny. And at the Gosselin home, John asked Santoro to give him a massage, then proceeded to reciprocate. While they were sitting there, Santoro said John told her, well, I guess we can kiss just once. She said he later told her, whatever you do, don't fall in love with me because it's going to be impossible for me not to fall in love with you. Excuse me while I cringe for a moment. Now, the pair made their way into the hot tub, and Santoro said she was afraid that, one of the kids was just gonna pop their heads out, but he told her to relax. Santoro said at one point he got out of the tub, went into the house to make sure the kids were all asleep. Now, that's when they actually moved to the apartment over, the garage, where Santoro said they continued whatever they were doing in the hot tub. And then he fell asleep afterward, reportedly. Now, John's reported romance affairs have been scrutinized by the tabloids since his split with Kate, while Kate spent much time spilling her heart out about the couple's problems. John was exploring the party scene. He was photographed on yachts, living it up as his marriage, basically fell apart. And in a People magazine article, Kate jokingly blamed an alien abduction for John's transformation from, a computer technician into basically a rock and roll jet setter. John told ABC News' Chris Como in an exclusive interview at the time that the headlines have been unfair. Magazine cover stories bashing him and praising Kate. He said, we're both off base and basically besides the point. He also made a point to say, I would say, let's finish what we gotta finish and move on with our lives and stop feeding feeding into the frenzy. Santoro, the nanny, she spilled so much more though. She actually exposed how much they make an episode, to which he said to her that they made about $75,000 an episode. That's a lot. Now, she also spilled the tea on John's plans to slow everything down in order to fight Kate for more money during their divorce proceedings as well as actually fight for custody of the kids. Now, Santoro also said that in her opinion, all of this is about money and John's ultimate goal is to obtain the most amount of money possible, calling him money hungry. Now, the tea got hotter the more she spilled it though, because she also said John had admitted to taking illegal substances and recalled a time that herself and a friend went over to John's house and he was allegedly acting really weird. Santoro claimed that she never in her life been exposed to anyone who has been under any illegal influence, but said her friend has and knew exactly what John was, on. It should be noted that many people came to John's defense and said that Santoro was answering questions that Kate basically instructed her to answer and that she was simply looking for her, 15 minutes of fame. I watched her interview, of her dishing all this dirt, and honestly, she smiled while telling bad things about John. It was giving I want 15 minutes. It's also giving I got paid to say this, and it was also giving I'll never get in any position again for breaching confidentiality. But, go watch for yourselves, come to that conclusion on your own, don't let me influence you. Kate wasn't left out of the fire though once John and Kate became, just Kate plus A after their divorce. A nanny that worked for Kate specifically said Kate was a little too controlling when giving specific orders, and that she gave employees a manual on her pet peeves and, to ensure that they actually would not, do those things. And also, she wanted them to vacuum at specific times or place certain items on the floor. If the clock struck 9 p.m., the nanny was to literally stop in their tracks and stop whatever they were doing and just call it a day so that she didn't basically have to pay them for overtime. The nanny also admitted she had to eavesdrop on the kids' conversation with their father John. The children's provider actually decided to stop working for Kate when she witnessed Kate punishing her son in front of her other children in a manner that was really uncomfortable to watch. We have a double celebrity whammy, Katie Lowes and Connie Britton. Katie Lowes, who you may know from ABC's hit show Scandal, where she plays Quinn Perkins, actually worked as a nanny for Connie Britton's son Eob before scoring her big role. Connie, you actually may know her from the show Nashville or Friday Night Lights. Before Katie made it really big in Hollywood, she actually worked numerous odd jobs to pay the bills, and one being a nanny. And when speaking to Jimmy Kimmel in October 2013, Lowes revealed that she had worked as a nanny to one celebrity who had a very unique way of parenting. She didn't disclose who it was, but Lowes told Kimmel that one anonymous celebrity parent refused to put their children in diapers, saying if the baby would start to make a face of frustration, what you would have to do is quickly remove the onesie, rush to the toilet, and hold the baby over the toilet. As crazy as that might have sounded, Lowes was able to laugh, at the absurdity of the situation in hindsight. Although Lowes did keep the identity of that celeb a secret, fans did put two and two together when Connie Britton actually spoke to E! News and admitted that Lowes was the nanny to her son. Apparently, Lowes was fairly good at her job, as the star later joked that she was upset when she got that little pilot, Now, despite all of this hee-hee and ha-ha on both of their ends, some fans thought it looked really bad on Lowes to expose something that specific to the public about another celebrity. Some thought she was low-key throwing shade, and one person even said they wouldn't have been happy if something like that came out about how they're raising their children on national TV. Fair. One person online at the time said, holding the baby over the toilet is actually a technique called elimination communication. It's a little uncommon, but not unusual. Not like some weird quirk she had. It's definitely a thing. With another person adding to that saying, yeah, Katie should have never exposed that publicly. It's so, particular, and many would easily find out that it was pertaining to Connie. I'd be mad. Well, it seems as though despite Connie being outed on her interesting parenting techniques, no love was lost, no fights were fought, and all was well in the end between them. Last up, we have David and Victoria Beckham. Now, the couple have been propped up as Hollywood's, golden couple for years. On the outside, they appear to be like the perfect family, but their former nanny, Abby Gibson, was actually fired for lifting up that veil of perfection. Gibson began working for the couple in May 2003, but resigned in March 2005 after a disagreement. Gibson made claims that both of the Beckhams would make over-the-top, insane demands that were nearly impossible to meet, which left her feeling like she was never doing her job properly. But that was just the start of the problems, because In a 7-page 2005 report, Gibson revealed that the couple had ongoing, intense arguments. According to Gibson, the seemingly very happy couple would have arguments literally all the time. The arguments were nothing new for Gibson, but there was a particular morning when she claimed she heard David call Victoria a really bad few words, which I won't say, but I will just say, at the time, Victoria was 7 months pregnant with their son Cruz. Now, the next day, after David left for work, Victoria allegedly revealed to Gibson that she didn't know what to do with their marriage. He was on about splitting up, and she pleaded for him to just wait until their third baby was born. Gibson actually claimed Victoria was deeply insecure about being pregnant and constantly compared her looks to younger women. One night she told Gibson, allegedly, "I feel fat and I feel like crap." What is, there to stop him from going out and finding someone who has more in the way of looks? She said Victoria had tearfully confided in her while also saying, "I don't know if he loves me still." Gibson also claimed that Beckham had affairs with personal assistant Rebecca Luz, a beautician also named Danielle Heath, and at least one other woman. The famous soccer star had been dealing with cheating accusations as early as 2010, 12 years after the couple famously tied the knot. Now, even before that, in 2003, he was photographed leaving a club with a mystery woman in Spain. That was the same woman that Gibson claimed he cheated on Victoria with, their personal assistant Rebecca Luz. Now, Gibson said, "She told me she had pleaded with him to tell her the truth about Rebecca. He told me she asked him, just tell me, did it happen?" And he replied, "No, it didn't." Abby Gibson sold her story to the News of the World after the Beckhams lost a high court hearing to keep her quiet. Now, Miss Gibson's disclosures provided the basis for an article titled "Beckhams Behind Closed Doors," which was actually published in April of 2005. Now, Miss Gibson, who was actually paid like $300,000 for her story, said she believed the Beckhams had already discussed a separation and were not likely to be together in a year. In 2009, Gibson was ordered by a court to apologize for disclosing this private and very confidential information about them. She has since apologized for ever exposing these secrets and says that she vows to keep her mouth shut from now on. Well, duh, obviously you got paid, girl. Of course you're gonna keep quiet now.
The Kardashians grew up on screen for all of us to see, and while there was drama on screen, apparently there was some behind the scenes as well. When the show first started in 2007, it said that the Kardashians, especially Kendal and Kylie, were very nice to the crew for the show. But as the years went on and they got more famous, they turned into monsters who had no respect for those who worked on the show. According to The Sun, the Kardashians repeatedly berated crew members and made unreasonable demands on anyone in their path. Additionally, the girls often try to direct what happens or demand multiple reshoots of simple moments on the show to place themselves in the best light they can at the expense of the rest of the family and crew, a source said. Now, this isn't a good look for them at all, and they should honestly be ashamed. Now, Kim Kardashian's marriage to Kris Humphries was something, let me tell you. Now, they dated for 6 months before they got married, and this might be due to all the money that they were making or were going to make. Kim was paid $1.5 million by People magazine for their wedding photos alone. They also got $300,000 for their engagement announcement, and then was given even more for both her bridal shower and honeymoon pictures. Not to mention, the pair got a bonus check from airing their wedding on Keeping Up. But things went downhill after that though, as just 72 days later, Kim filed for divorce from Kris. Yep, the marriage only lasted 72 days, which is honestly just embarrassing. Now, Kris was blindsided by this as he felt that they were truly in love, but he cited fraud as a reason for wanting an annulment. Now, Kim's paperwork stated irreconcilable differences for hers. Now, following their split, Kris's lawyer told a Los Angeles fraud court that Kim had no intentions of proceeding with this marriage. Jonathan Jackson, who worked with Kim between 2007 and 2009, said the pair's union was a publicity stunt. Speaking on Good Day LA back in 2011, Jackson said, 2 weeks prior to her wedding, she knew it was not something she wanted to do. Unfortunately, they were obligated to honor contracts with E!, the network which had TV rights, otherwise they would have owed a lot of people a lot of money. Now, this is so unfortunate, especially for Kris, as he was practically used. And then there's everything that happened with Lamar Odom and Khole. Throughout 2013, countless stories circulated about Lamar cheating on his wife Khole. Later on, Lamar admitted to struggling with addiction and infidelity from early on in his marriage to Khole. There were too many strippers to count, he said in his memoir. Now, Khole actually grew suspicious and hired a private investigator to track her husband. And while all this was going on, the couple put on a happy front on Keeping Up with the Kardashians and their own spin-off show, Khole and Lamar. Now, in 2013, an insider claimed Khole had not only photographic proof that Lamar cheated on her with at least 5 different women, but had copies of text messages between Lamar and the other women. She is a very smart woman and knew she had to get the proof because of the infidelity clause in their prenup, the source said. Though Khole would later talk about Lamar's cheating on Keeping Up, she didn't do so until his cheating was widely publicized. And all of Lamar's issues were publicized by the Kardashians themselves. You see, not everyone in the family knew about the substance misuse and the cheating, but someone in the family was tired of it. It said that it wasn't until Rob Kardashian learned of Lamar's dark secrets that he helped push Lamar out. While it hasn't been validated, Lamar still claims to this day that it was the Kardashians who revealed his dark secrets to the press, which then drove a wedge between him and Khole. Now, Lamar even said that Kris Jenner orchestrated an incident after their divorce to get more press surrounding their broken relationship. But of course, no one in this family would admit to all of that though. And then there's the fact that pretty much all the Jenners have gotten some sort of plastic surgery and have never admitted to it. In addition to that, some of them have even had their plastic surgery removed or reversed and lie and say they've been working out or have just been eating healthy. But I mean, we all know the truth. Now, a lot of people have pointed out that Kim has had liposuction and fat implants, but she has denied it. And then, after her daughter North was born, it was even more apparent that she got more work done, but once again, she denied it, but we seem to know the truth. There have been rumors since the beginning of time that Khloe Kardashian is not actually a Kardashian at all, and now we may have some proof. Numerous sources have reported that Kris Jenner told Robert Kardashian repeatedly that Khloe was not his daughter. According to RadarOnline.com, they also claim Kris paid her hairdresser, Alex Rowland, $30 million in a non-disclosure agreement to keep quiet about the situation, as some people claim that he's actually her father. Now, this makes sense because Kris Jenner is known for being a serial cheater, so it very well could be a possibility. Now, Kim Kardashian was investigated by the FBI after getting $250,000 in a trash bag. Yep, you heard that right. Now, according to a March 2023 Bloomberg Businessweek report, Kim was questioned by the feds as a part of an investigation and a mogul at the center of an embezzlement scandal. Now, in 2019, Kim told the FBI that she once played baccarat in a Las Vegas casino with Lowe and others when she ended up winning big. Now, Lowe allegedly told Kim to keep the chips she won, which were worth $350,000. Now, Kim told the FBI when she went to the casino counter to cash out, she was handed $250,000 in a trash bag full of 100 bills. Now, she put the trash bag full of cash in her carry-on bag and boarded a Southwest Airlines flight back to Los Angeles, the FBI agents wrote. Now, on a later trip to Vegas, Kim collected the remaining $100,000, again in a trash bag full of cash, which is honestly just weird. Now, Kim Kardashian has been accused of mistreating her workers by not paying them, which is messed up. In May 2021, Kim was sued by 7 workers accusing her of wage theft, retaliation, and more. The complaint alleged that cleaning and maintenance workers at her Santa Monica home weren't paid for all the hours they worked, didn't get overtime pay, weren't given required meal and rest breaks, and didn't get any pay stubs or documents related to employment. Kim has largely tried to deflect the blame by saying this was the fault of a company she hired to manage the workers. Now, the case, which was ongoing, has been pushed under the rug by the family, who never addressed the scandal themselves. And apparently, a lot of Keeping Up with the Kardashians was fake. Now, Kris Humphries spoke out about this after his short-lived marriage to Kim. He told a source, "Kris says that Kim's reality shows are a total sham. He doesn't think there's anything real about the shows at all." Now, the source also references one of the most quoted scenes of the show, in which Kim loses an earring after being thrown into the ocean by Kris during a family trip. Kim was crying hysterically, but then miraculously, one of the younger sisters found the earring in the ocean, where the group had been swimming. But they said that Kim didn't actually lose her earring, that the move was a publicity stunt to get views, the source said. Which, yeah, I do honestly believe this point. And finally, we have to address Kim's adult film that was released with her ex Ray J. Now in 2007, the tape was leaked online, and it's how Kim rose to fame. The talk of the tape was a prominent topic on the first season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and it made Ray J a villain. But Ray J has since come out and said that he had nothing to do with the tape being released, and that it was all up to Kim and her mother Kris. He said, "I sat in the shadow for over 14 years, allowing the Kardashians to use my name, to abuse my name, making billions of dollars over a decade and a half, talking about a topic I've never really spoken about. I've never leaked anything, I've never leaked a tape in my life." Now, Ray J claims that Kim and Kris negotiated the release of the tape in the early 2000s. Kris apparently watched 3 different Ray J and Kim tapes and chose to leak the one that gave her daughter a better look, which honestly is just gross. Now, Ray J also claimed that Kim has the videotapes in a box under her bed and that he's never been in possession of the tapes. Now, Kris Jenner has denied playing a role in the whole scandal, but Ray J says she's lying and that it was all her plan.
Alright, the Grammys, let's address it. What did J-Lo do that had people turning against her again? The first was her dress when she presented the award for Best Latin Pop Album to Shakira. I mean, like, people just didn't like it. The top was a black long sleeve, which is not that offensive. The problem was the skirt. It was a sparkly sheer fabric, and the top was really bunched up on the skirt. It was just a lot of fabric at the top of it. The overwhelming sentiment was that it just wasn't visually appealing, but an unpopular fashion choice isn't the only thing that people are attacking the star for. Allegedly, at the pre-Grammy gala, J-Lo was chewing gum. And that is where the sentence ends, while she was chewing gum with her mouth open and talking to people. A video was captured of J-Lo speaking to someone at the event while chewing gum, and for this, she was called classless, tacky, and mannerless. When I first read this story, I thought, oh, was she in the middle of a red carpet interview? No, she was just walking around the party and interacting with people. It's also hilarious that people are reacting to her chewing gum like it's a criminal offense, because J-Lo was actually almost charged with a criminal offense over the holidays in 1999. This was a major story when it dropped a couple decades ago, but it's kind of faded into the background since. But it's gained traction again because of the person that J-Lo was taken into custody alongside. None other than her boyfriend at the time, Sean Diddy Combs. Diddy is currently accused of numerous horrible things, and he has been held for the past few months awaiting a trial that will take place this year. But that's not the crime that J-Lo was connected to, of course. That crime was a result of a night of clubbing in December of 1999. At a club, Diddy and another patron got into a physical altercation that resulted in weapons firing. Diddy and J-Lo fled the scene, engaged in a car chase with local police. J-Lo was detained for quite a long time, almost over 12 hours, but eventually released. Diddy did go to court and was cleared of all charges in the end. Now, it wasn't until recently that J-Lo's participation in the altercation went under a microscope. She has since been accused of being the one that brought the weapon into the club when it was originally believed that she had never touched it. This new info came from a lawsuit filed against Diddy last year, but it included a description of the alleged moments before the raid on Diddy's home. Jones Jr. claimed that day, Diddy had been showing off his weapons, took responsibility for the club altercation in 1999, and that J-Lo was the person that carried the weapon into the club and handed it to Diddy when the fight started. This statement does contradict accounts taken at the time of the event, so it's unclear who is actually telling the truth right now or how innocent J-Lo was in the end. The internet certainly decided that she wasn't innocent at last year's Met Gala. TikTok sounded the alarm after a video of J.Lo on the Met Gala steps went viral last year. A short interaction turned into a huge online hate campaign, and here's what happened. Annika Reed was invited to the gala that year as an interviewer. She would end up posting clips from her interviews to her TikTok page. And for the most part, the interactions were very positive with all the other celebrities, except for the star of today's video, J.Lo. Watching this video back, I don't think J.Lo was being that rude, but I am the minority in the conversation. The internet and comment section tore the singer to bits. Here's what happened, form your own judgment. There were some clips of J.Lo smiling and posing on the carpet, and then as she's walking up the final set of stairs to the top, that's when Reed asked her question to J.Lo. She had to kind of shout it a bit because J.Lo wasn't stopping for interviews at that time. She asked standard red carpet question, "Who are you wearing tonight?" J.Lo, still ascending the stairs, glanced over, said a quick, smileless Schiaparelli before continuing on. Reed's caption on the video didn't overly convey that she felt slighted by J.Lo, but the comment section told a very different story. People were calling the performer rude. One person said that Reed got the J.Lo experience, and overall, they weren't happy. I think J.Lo's less than enthusiastic response in comparison to other celebrities that evening worked against her, although she was actively making sure her and her dress made it up the Met Gala stairs without completely toppling over. The biggest red flag Jennifer Lopez is hiding or trying to hide from the public would have to be her ex-husband, not Ben Affleck. I'm talking about the original Oani Noah. Once you stack up all the evidence against this man, red can be his color. Of course, all this is subjective, and divorce does affect everyone differently, and it's not an easy thing to get divorced. But Noah's behavior over the past few decades hasn't always been kind. It all started back in the 90s when J.Lo married Noah. They were married about 11 months before getting divorced. Now, there was quite a bit of lead up to the divorce, it appears. J.Lo's career was taking off. She had been a dancer on a TV show and then had great success with the biopic Selena, in which she played Selena. Noah at the time was also an entertainer, he still is, but mainly he worked in the restaurant industry. He actually met J.Lo when he was a waiter, and then over the course of their marriage, he opened up his own restaurant. There were always signs that things weren't perfect between the pair. Noah claims that he wasn't always a big fan of the spotlight, he refused to attend red carpets with J.Lo. He also once claimed that J.Lo was cheating on him with Diddy. J.Lo dated Diddy after her divorce. The pair worked together on a music video for a Diddy track and felt a connection, but have said that they didn't pursue it at the time because J.Lo was married. Still, Noah claims that the pair did get involved. He says it happened when J.Lo was putting together her first album and they were separated a lot. Noah had to stay in one city for his restaurant and J.Lo was flying back and forth between two other cities. Noah says that he would try and see her whenever he could, but the separation did more harm than anything else. J.Lo told a different story as to how the relationship broke down in a few interviews after the divorce. One time, she made a comment about how her financial status was just better than Noah's and likely always would be, and that was hard for the man to accept. She said that he was the type to prefer that he were the breadwinner and that she were home washing dishes, yet she was the breadwinner for the couple and was the one paying for many of the things the couple enjoyed, like their home, for example. Noah did not take the split very well at all. It's almost 3 decades later and he is still talking about J.Lo and their marriage and how it hurt a lot. I don't doubt that the divorce was hard, but when I say he hasn't let it go, I mean it. When J.Lo got back with Affleck, Noah was there to say he didn't see the relationship lasting. When they got divorced, he made a statement. He's made the claim that he was the pioneer when it comes to J.Lo's marriages. There might be a reason why the pioneer is still seemingly held up over the 11-month marriage. He was really into it, sure, but there was also an incident that happened after the divorce that made things go from bad to worse. Jennifer Lopez was opening her own restaurant, and she needed someone in charge. She knew Noah, he had a lot of experience in the industry, she still cared for him, so she asked if he wanted to do it. She promised to take care of him and that she wouldn't fire him without a good reason. Things were fine until a few months after opening when Noah was fired, and when he tried to ask why, allegedly, no answer. Since J.Lo essentially broke her promise, he took her to court and it actually ended in his favor. But that was the last time that he would have the courts in favor of him when it came to him and J.Lo. When he and J.Lo broke up, there was an agreement that he wouldn't share any damaging personal details about the singer and their relationship. After the restaurant thing though, it seems Noah's gloves were off and he was ready to swing with a book about his relationship with J.Lo. J.Lo's team blocked it, of course, because it went against the agreement. Court documents say it was was also apparently going to insinuate J-Lo cheated. Noah did owe J-Lo money after that incident. Despite all that, he tried again attempting to release a parody movie that was allegedly going to include a look at the couple's home life, but J-Lo didn't want the book. Of course she wouldn't want a movie. It looks like Noah and his team thought that they could get away with a movie easier if it was a parody, because technically it's not like J-Lo being shown on the screen, but it's a clear parody of J-Lo. It was shut down anyway. At the time, one of the movie's producers was working on their own J-Lo project that, in their words, turned radioactive after the lawsuit about Noah's movie was done. I mean, no studio wanted to finance something that might never make it off the ground or will be sued into oblivion. She sued J-Lo over it, but it was eventually dropped.